Okay, let's go.
He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
Too many cars.
Car. Roses would be...
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have,
you'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns, what's right? I want a man's coolant.
and he's like, "Oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light."
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West. Internet.
Is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast content.
very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke.
It loves to be driven hard.
All right. Welcome to Auto Off Topic. What's going on, Brad?
A whole lot of nothing, Andrew. What's going on with you?
Oh, great way to start the podcast. You guys are in for a great episode today.
No, I got plenty of stuff that I have done and we can talk about, and there's just a whole lot of nothing going on right now.
Other than talking to me, thanks.
Whole lot of nothing going on around this time.
Okay. Well, quick project update for me. I have no updates. Still waiting on the machine shop to call me back. I think I reported that they gave me a progress report last week. That they were waiting for the crank to come back, and then they were going to paint the block for me and finish it up. But I haven't heard from them this week, so we'll see. Hopefully next week. I keep saying that.
Hopefully next week. It's always next week.
Yeah.
But it's also midwinter there, so it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't, because it's been too cold to do anything outside with cars anyways.
Yeah. Project car updates here. There really aren't any also. I put another 140 miles or so on the truck successfully, so that's good.
Yeah?
We got the Hyundai engine I talked about. They completed that in 3 days from the day we dropped it off. So the day we dropped it off for the diagnostics to the car being repaired and back in our possession was like 3 days. So
yeah,
obviously they're good at this now. Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the third one they've done that week.
Right. So, but it's great. They found metal shavings in the intake manifold. So they also put a new intake manifold on it. Yeah. Yeah, it was a mess. And there was a couple of plastic trim pieces that were never on the car since we've owned it. So the Sonatas have an air intake tube that goes from the air filter housing to the front bumper, but it goes over the battery.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things
disappears.
A lot of these things don't have that tube because people are lazy and change out a battery and it's gone. So it went in without one and it came back with one. So I'm actually pretty impressed. They took care of the whole car. Like, they probably didn't have to do that kind of stuff, but that's not the warranty part.
Probably because it's like, they probably had it several times where they give the car back and somebody's like, ever since you touched it, it's missing this thing. So
yeah, maybe. But nonetheless, it's back. It's running good. I asked if there were any kind of like break-in procedures or I didn't ask. We had her ask, and they said no. Just it's not a race car, so don't drive it like one, and just come back in 3,000 miles for an oil change. So that's what we'll do. So it's not a brand new block; it is a reman lung block.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's better than the engine that was in there.
100%, and that's all that matters. And now it's 100% up to date on all its recalls. So,
but it's good. Like a reman from Hyundai. Is it Hyundai?
It's from Hyundai. I don't know who is building them for Hyundai. I don't know if they build them or if they have like a Jasper Engines rebuild a bunch of them.
Yeah, you know what? It doesn't matter because it doesn't dealer, matter. So it's got a warranty.
Yep, 100%. I don't know how long the warranty is good for. I probably should have asked, but I know it does have a warranty. So, yeah.
Well, at least parts should be 1 year 12, but
it's probably more than that.
It's probably more than that, yeah.
Yeah, because of the whole class action lawsuit thing, which is the only reason we got a free engine in the first place. Again, like I said, this thing had almost 200,000 miles on it. So it's like, I don't even blame Hyundai. Like, it's an old car. So the fact that it's fixed for free is a bonus. So, but that's really it, I think, for Project Car updates. I don't think I even touched another car. I drove the Eclipse. First time since before the holidays, so that was good. But I didn't touch anything else. So no Project Car updates here.
Yeah,
podcast over.
Done, finished. I know. I spent the weekend watching the Rolex 24. That's really what I did.
Oh wait, I jacked up the Mercor.
Oh, okay.
To find out where the power steering was leaking from. And there's a pressure hose off of the steering rack that has a rubber hose into a compression fitting, and it's leaking out of the compression fitting.
Oh.
So I jacked it up, looked at it, and ordered a new part. The part is sitting next to me here at my desk. So I do have the part here. So that will actually be Saturday's plan, is to get that all taken care of. So, because I need to get my butt in gear and sell that thing. So I had somebody who was an interested party in purchasing it, but I think that's going to fall through because they're in California. And on a further inspection of the vehicle, I thought it had a cat back on it, but it does not. It has a turbo back with no cats, which I never even thought about because I don't need to worry about it here. But that's going to make it a little bit more difficult to sell outside of here. So, not sure
well, you could sell it.
I can sell it locally.
All 49 states.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not technically legal here if you don't have collector car insurance either. But I think at this point, anybody buying it is probably going to have a collector car policy. So,
I don't know why. Honestly, modern cats are fine. Like, just put one on. It doesn't restrict anything.
No, 100%. I'm not gonna worry about finding, like, if it was going to California, I would need to find an original 1989 exhaust from the manifold pack, the turbo back. But obviously, I'm not going to do that. I wanted to do the exhaust on the car anyway. I decided I was not going to do it because I was selling it. But if it becomes an issue, I'll have an exhaust just made for it with a Magnaflow cat on it or something. So I'm not going to stress too much about it right now, but I'm going to take care of that power steering. I want to go through the car, change all the fluids, and just kind of drive it around for a week or so before I officially put it on the market and make sure it's going to be good. But I gotta get that power steering fixed first. So parts are here. That's this weekend's project. Car's already in the air, so it shouldn't take me too long to flip that part in there. All right, now back to you.
Yeah, I basically spent the whole weekend watching the Rolex 24, and it was a good race. We went last year, and it's super fun. And of course, every time I watch it on TV, I'm like, I wish I was there. But it's not something I do every year. I don't think
it's called FOMO, Andrew.
Yeah, it's definitely a FOMO. But I'm not. Last year, like, the weather was nice. It was like 65, like 72. I guess this year it was like really, really cold. So
yeah, it was quite cold this year.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not sad about missing the cold because it's been cold here. So
the one thing that bummed me out was that last year they had all of the classic Le Mans and Daytona, like IMSA style race cars on display in like the midway area. This year they actually ran them on track for a while.
Yeah, they started doing the historic races.
Yeah, a little bummed that didn't happen last year, but we'll go there again at some point and see that.
Which is funny because like one of the Wayne Taylor Acuras from like 3 or 4 years ago was running the historic class, and I was like, that just makes me feel so old. It's like that car doesn't feel old enough.
3 or 4 years ago, it shouldn't make you feel old because it's not old enough. That's no older than the Lexus race cars that were out there.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. So the Lexus race cars, which did not do very well. Maybe they were just out of balance performance or something, but they were the champions not last year, or maybe one of the classes last year they were champions. I know the AO Racing Rexy car was the champion for whatever class it's in. I think GTD Pro. But those Lexuses are, I think, from 2017. Like they are the oldest car in that class, oldest platform. And supposedly Toyota has a new car they're coming out with for GT3 class racing. Some Toyota Gazoo something, but it'll be branded as a certain... I was listening to an IMSA podcast, and they weren't even sure what Lexus it'll be branded as when it comes over here. But
so the RCF program dates back. The RCF program dates back to 2017. You are correct, and it was Lexus backed for the first 2 years before it was given to Vassar Sullivan, which what it's been since. So yeah, it's old.
Yep.
So, but yeah, the new race car doesn't make any sense because it's not like an actual street car. So I don't understand how it's going to be legal.
Yeah, because everything else is a street car based, like the Corvette.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it looks like an AMG GT kind of deal.
The Mustangs looked really cool out there. They won the class, GTD Pro.
Yeah, I like the light up Mustang on the side of them too. It's gimmicky, but it's cool.
Yeah. Is it light up or reflective?
It might be a light up. So I thought it was reflective, and I heard somebody say light up, but they could have been wrong too.
Yeah, it's cool. The Mustang won the class, and then Corvettes were doing decently. The most notable thing that happened was Tommy Milner getting into it with one of the BMWs that wouldn't let him pass.
So, admittedly, I only watched the last 3 hours of the race, and I got to see
not a bad
that.
time to start watching it.
Yeah, I got to see that, so that was cool. The BMWs were racing quite dirty. What was it, the number 1 car and the number 48 car? And
number 1 was on the lead lap.
Number 1 was cool. He wasn't doing anything wrong.
And the Corvette and number 1, I think it's the number 3 Corvette, were challenging each other for position.
Yes.
And they came up on the 48, which was in like P12, but like a lap down.
It's 44 laps down.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't even close.
And he just like rolling roadblocked the Corvette.
Yeah, he let the number 1 BMW by and then was blocking the Corvette.
Yeah.
It was not cool.
And then the Corvette got into the 1 a couple times trying to make a pass. And it was just like NASCAR, like kind of.
Oh no, sorry. The one was behind the Corvette. The Corvette was in front. And they came up on the 48 car. And the 48 car was blocking the Corvette so that the BMW could catch and pass the Corvette. And what happened was they went into that international corkscrew, and the number 48 car just kind of like stood on the brakes, and the Corvette had to take an evasive move to go around it, but the BMW number 1 car was already passing him, so they tagged each other. They doored each other trying to go around the 48 car. That's what happened. But it was a very obvious brake check in the turn on the Corvette. So it was dirty racing, 100%.
Yeah, I believe it was Farfus.
I don't remember which driver was which.
Who's actually, I saw an Instagram post from the Bathurst 12 hour, is already in Bathurst practicing for the 12 hour, which is crazy because that's this weekend.
Yeah.
So
I'll try to watch some of that.
Yeah, that starts Saturday afternoon at like 1:45 Eastern or something. So you'll have to do your own time zone calculation there. I was only able to come up with the Eastern time zone. But yeah, so that resulted in Tommy Milner giving him a big old point by.
Yep.
Because they damaged the back of the Corvette, and I think they had to do a drive-through penalty.
It wasn't the drive-through penalty. They had parts of the car hanging off, and race control didn't want the parts flying off and causing a yellow or a wreck. So they forced the Corvette to come in and, fix the bodywork, which wouldn't have been the end of the world because it was pretty close to pit time anyway. And they should have been able just to come down, pull it back a little bit and cut it off with a reciprocating saw real fast. But unfortunately, what they showed was the piece of bodywork that was hanging off also contained the hookup for the air jacks. So they couldn't just rip it right off. They had to actually try to reattach it in some form because they need obviously access to the air jacks. They couldn't just cut it off. So it took them a little extra time to do that. And the BMWs had no damage. The number 48 car did get a drive-through penalty. BMW.
Yeah.
But he was already 40-something laps down. It didn't matter.
Yeah. You know what's got a drive-through penalty was Connor Zilch in the TF Sport Trackhouse Corvette. He came down on the turn 1 and accidentally just a little too hot and got into one of the LMP2 cars and spun him.
Yep.
And he spun on himself because they were doing pretty well. They were up in top 10, which is cool. So that was cool. Finding out about, I didn't realize that Justin Marks, the guy that owns Trackhouse, started in sports car racing. So I was all excited to finally get a sports car team to go back to sports car racing. I was like, yeah, that's sweet.
It's interesting too, thinking about that Connor Zilch move. That kid's 18.
Yeah.
The fact that he's out there in a top level IMSA sports car at 18 years old, that's a pretty minor incident. So,
well, he won in LMP2 last year. I mean, there were several teenagers running.
Yeah, for sure,
which is crazy.
Wild to me. Yeah.
And he won an Xfinity race on a road course, of course. So he's an up and comer to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'll be doing Cup Series road courses this year too.
Yes.
So,
because SVG is going full time in the Cup Series, and we'll get to some NASCAR news after this. But of course, we were there last year when the Penske Porsches won, which they hadn't won in 50 years or something.
Yeah, very long time
overall. And now they've gone back to back, which is crazy. But I was really, really pulling for that Acura.
Yeah, it's funny to say you're rooting for the underdog, and the underdog is Honda, but it's not Penske. So
yeah. But the Cadillacs were fast, but there was that massive wreck in the middle of the night. You must have seen the clips from that.
Yeah, I did. And I also saw the blue Cadillac go airborne at one
taken
point.
Out there, and then yeah, and then I think the Wayne Taylor Racing car had a suspension failure and just went into the wall.
Yeah, so, after it went airborne,
different car.
Oh, it was a different car.
Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. Cadillacs have been pretty fast, and they just had completely awful luck this year. Just didn't make it.
That's what happens in 24-hour endurance racing.
Well, it is still pretty amazing though that after 24 hours there's usually still 2 or 3 cars on the lead lap that are challenging each other. So
again, that BMW Corvette battle that was a door-to-door battle for a while was in the last 3 hours. That's crazy.
Yeah. Or even the BMWs, the number 10 BMW, with about an hour and 45 minutes to go.
The prototype cars.
I can't the prototype car. I'm totally blanking on the driver. Kobayashi.
There's 4 drivers per car sometimes, so it's hard to keep them all straight.
Yeah. But I think Kobayashi was driving at the time, it was just like an hour and 45 minutes ago, was on an absolute charge after that restart. And it was like, oh man, maybe BMW could take this. And then just fell off and fell back and just couldn't keep up with the Porsches. So, but it's a cool race. I definitely want to go back. My son saw me watching it. He wanted to go. I'm like, well, we'll wait till you're a little bit older and we'll go, because it is a super long day. But the other thing, there's something else, and I'm blanking on what happened. But
You could take him to a different IMSA event.
yeah, we've been to the one. We went to the one at Lime Rock, which is apparently ended up being the last one, and they are not going back there. So
Right.
that's annoying. But I completely forgetting. I had something else to talk about for the race, and I can't remember what it was because so many things happened because it was a 24-hour race.
Yep.
But it's a cool race. It's a really good time to be an endurance racing fan because the endurance racing is really good. It's easy to watch, or it's easy to find and get access to watching it. I watched it. I've got the Peacock app, so it was on there full 24 hours, no interruptions. When you've got things like, you've also got, especially with the kind of parity they've started to do with the GTD cars are very close to GT3 cars. And what I liked this year too is that the Corvettes have a lot of privateer cars now because they're not exclusive to not an exclusive factory team anymore. So that was cool seeing a bunch of Corvettes out there.
You said GT3, but the two classes are GTD and GTD Pro.
That's correct. They are close in rule set to the World Endurance Championship GT3s.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So there's more available cars.
Yeah, they're very close. They're slightly different, but I know they're talking about trying to make stuff a lot closer so that you'll have even more manufacturers in there.
They should.
Like that new Lexus that will eventually come here is built to World GT3 standards, I believe, so they can use it elsewhere. But anyway, if you want more endurance racing, there's plenty of endurance racing coming up. It's a World Endurance Championship. I think they just did Dubai, but maybe it's like Qatar 24 hours or something might be coming up, or 12 hours. There's a bunch of endurance races in the Middle East that's coming. You've got the Bathurst 12 hours this weekend, which you can watch all that stuff on like YouTube. So there's plenty of ways to watch it. Which is
Bathurst is going to be on that MAV TV channel. I think they're playing the entire 24 hours.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Not earlier. I think it was like in December. I was watching Macau. That was on YouTube. That's cool.
I want to find footage of classic Macau races.
Yeah.
Specifically like 87 to 91.
Yeah. All the Mitsubishi stuff.
Yeah.
So then you've got all of that stuff. You can watch the Nürburgring 24 hours in June. Like, so much good racing to watch.
I mean, it's a good time to be a sports fan in general. Like, just waiting for this podcast to come on. I was literally watching, because it was on cable TV, the Magic Johnson return to basketball game in '96 and the Lakers versus the Warriors. Like, just they're replaying the whole game. And I was like, I'm going to watch this. So nice. It's just the kind of thing. There's just so much cool content out there if you're a sports fan anyway. So car racing just kind of gets lumped into that now as well. So it's good.
Yeah. I don't subscribe to the WRC app because it's just one more thing to subscribe to.
Correct.
But they do, we were just talking about before we went on to record, they do recaps on YouTube a couple days later, maybe hours later, I don't know, of each day. So Rally Monte Carlo was this past weekend. Not a lot of snow, but a lot of ice.
Yep.
And Seb Ogier won in a Toyota. It's like 10 wins at Monte Carlo, which
At
is
Monte
crazy.
Carlo. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane.
And I feel like I was watching it. I feel like Hyundai is the spiritual successor to Mitsubishi. In my opinion.
Well, Mitsubishi created Hyundai in America. So, or in general, because they gave them engines. And then the first Hyundais to rally were the Tiburons in America, and they all had Mitsubishi engines. So there's definitely some truth to that.
Yeah, and I just think Hyundai is just being the coolest car company with all the motorsport stuff they do.
Absolutely.
And it's alternate universe.
Toyota's up there too, but
Toyota's pretty cool. But you know what Toyota
Yeah.
doesn't seem to want to do is license their cars for video games, which is kind of a weird thing.
even the race cars?
I don't believe the EA WRC game has Toyotas in it. It might. I could be wrong. It doesn't have any classic Toyotas. I'll tell you that. But anyway, again, all that stuff's cool. It's easy to watch if you want to get into it. It's on.
Yeah, those they're like 10-minute recap per day, so it doesn't delve in very deep, but they give you the highlights. They kind of show you who's leading, why they're leading, and who isn't leading anymore, and why they're not leading anymore, which is really the most important part, I guess. So it's a good, quick little synopsis. And they also have a second channel where they put up all of like the in cars and stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I say this because, you have so many people that have gotten into motorsports from watching that F1 show on Netflix. And then, when I'm watching like something like the Rolex, I'm usually also scrolling like threads or something just to interact with other motorsports people. And you get all these people that are like, oh man, endurance racing is cool. I didn't realize you could race different cars on the track at the same time, because they've only ever watched F1, like they're new to motorsports, but there's this whole other world that's beyond.
Whoa, cars
F1.
pass each other?
Yeah, which I think F1 is extremely overrated and boring, but to each their own.
As a technical aspect, it's amazing. As an actual spectator race, it is 100%. I also agree, overrated.
Yeah, I am much more into mixed class endurance racing.
Yeah,
would be my number one. Then rally. Then NASCAR.
Yeah, I don't know if I could put them in order. I'd probably put rally first if I could, though. Just because.
Yeah. So that being said, not only is the Bathurst 12-hour, we've got the Clash this Sunday.
Is it this Sunday?
At Bowman Gray Stadium. I believe so, yeah.
Wow.
I thought it felt a little early, but it's it's this Sunday because they were
February 2nd.
Again, I was looking on Instagram and they're showing they've got all the cars. They're doing like tech inspections at like Charlotte because there's no space at this other place. So
I mean, it's literally a high school football stadium.
It's crazy. Like,
yeah,
it's so small. It's gonna be cool. Hopefully it's a good race. So, I don't know what time it's on. It's probably on at like 6 or something.
It's 8 Eastern.
So, oh, cool. That's it's a good time to watch it on a Sunday night. So, that'll be fun.
6 year.
Yeah. But we're talking about you can watch all these motorsports things on different channels or on different places, but NASCAR this year is going to be in a bunch of different channels, which feels kind of weird.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit odd. What's going to mostly annoy me is the mid-season races are going to be on Prime. So I won't be able to record them unless they'll allow you to watch them later. I don't really know how it's going to work.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, that's annoying. And
because as much as I love NASCAR, I don't love wasting my entire summer afternoon for 3.5, 4 hours in front of the television. I like to record it and watch it that night.
Yeah, because the way it works out for you, they're usually playing like right in the middle of your prime afternoon out there.
Yeah, it's the meat of the day. It's like the race starts at 11. Like I'm going to lose all of my productivity hours on a weekend to watch a NASCAR race, which I will for like Daytona or something. But for watch a race in Las Vegas in July, it's like I don't want to.
Weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
I'm hoping Prime will allow like later playback. Like
They should.
they don't with football.
How is
so I
that?
don't know.
How they treat the football games? I haven't tried one.
Yeah, they don't do that with
A
football.
little late in the season now, I guess.
Yeah, you missed your opportunity, Andrew.
Yeah, I don't. That's the one thing I was like. They do have a NASCAR channel on Tubi now, so I like tried it out this afternoon, and it did remind me they were playing the Clash. I was like, oh, I'm not looking forward to going back to NASCAR on Fox because the coverage was not very good. So
Maybe they fixed it.
that's kind of a bummer, but here we are.
Maybe they fixed the coverage this year. Maybe it'll be
What else?
perfect.
With Clash. Oh,
I
and
don't
they're
know who's
also.
commentating this year.
I don't know either.
I'm gonna miss Lee Diffie, that's for sure.
Well, he should be back when they go back to NBC. Because I think on Prime they're gonna have Dale Jr. and who else? Like somebody else. It's a little strange, but that's the way it is now. We had everything on at once, or everything on one service, but now we have to split it all up because everybody's gonna get their beak wet. Yeah, so I think this year on Prime it's Dale Jr. But I'm not sure who else.
Okay, he was on it last year though. No, he was on Fox last year. He was somewhere last year.
No, he did nothing last year. He wasn't on
I feel
NBC
like I
and he
heard
wasn't
him.
on Fox.
Well, I know I'll miss Lee Diffie on his NBC because he was the best. So,
Yeah, well, NBC will have it towards the end of the year,
for sure.
but yeah, I don't know. It's like kind of weird. Like I said, it was all in one place. Now it's all in different places because everybody's got to get their beak wet. And the biggest thing that like it's kind of weird is what they're getting rid of rookie stripes on the cars.
Yeah, it's odd. That was like an easy thing to help spot drivers in the field. I don't know why they're getting rid of that.
So, somebody's theory I read was because you've got someone like SVG who was a rookie but had like a couple wins and top fives and stuff. So, they're not really a rookie. And then somebody else was like, they don't want to put rookie stripes on Castro Neves' car, who's running Daytona, because it's like kind of a, it's like kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
yeah, he's not a rookie at all.
Well, I think if you're running the full season, and you're a rookie, you should have rookie stripes.
Yeah, but
I also don't like that they're not letting Mike Wallace race.
Yeah, but why?
Why do I not like it, or why they're not letting him?
I missed why they weren't letting him.
So Mike Wallace retired probably 15 years ago.
Yeah.
His wife passed away last year, and I guess he had talked to her about like running NASCAR Cup Series, Daytona 500 one more time, like in honor of her. And he had the whole team all set, sponsors all set, passed a bunch of physicals, and then NASCAR arbitrarily said no. And the reason they gave for no was that he's never driven a next-gen car. And that he's welcome to go back and run a bunch of races in an Xfinity car, and then maybe do one or two short tracks in a next-gen car, and then maybe come back to run a super speedway in a next-gen car. But it's Mike Wallace. It's not like Mike Jones from Texas. Like, it's a dude who
Well-
knows how to drive a race car.
Well, you say that, but then Jimmy Johnson can't drive a next-gen car.
So why'd they let him?
Probably because they thought that he could drive it,
Yeah,
because he wasn't that far out from retirement, and he continued to drive. And then I don't know, for some reason he's just awful in a next-gen car.
Yeah, it's true. It just seems odd that, somebody like that who was a pretty popular driver in his day, it would be a popular move to see him back on track. And
So what they
maybe
should
there's some
do is,
safety thing I don't know about, but
what they should do is just be like, it should be like the Indy 500 where you can just race yourself in. And if you qualify, you qualify. If you don't, you don't.
sure,
Right?
I'm fine with that.
Them's the rules, right? If you can take a next gen car up to and qualify for the Daytona 500, why can't you drive for the whole race? I don't know.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen.
So it's weird, but
I don't know.
I
It's
know.
making me upset. There's also a couple of NASCAR things that, as a fan, have kind of made me a little upset.
a waiver.
The waiver thing is weird for the Kyle Larson story. Like, if you miss a NASCAR race, they're just like, nope, now you get no playoff points. It's like, that seems like abusive management at a company. Like, oh, you didn't show up for work one day, now all of your Christmas bonuses are gone.
Well, why do you think Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan in 2311 were suing them?
Right, and that whole thing has also made me upset. But what doesn't make any sense is, why make a big deal about trying to run the Indy 500? It's free advertising. The viewership for the Coca-Cola 600 last year was like 25% more than the year before because of Kyle Larson trying to run both. There were tons of people who watch IndyCar who were like, we're going to watch this NASCAR race now and see how this goes down. But now if you're going to try
Vice
to
versa.
if you're going to try to not make it happen, then you're shooting yourself in the foot for nothing. I mean, I don't think it matters. It's especially somebody like Kyle Larson. Like, say what you will about Kyle Larson as a human. We don't like him as a human or a driver, but he's hugely popular. And this is the kind of thing that will bring more people to your sport. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And then from the human aspect of NASCAR, this Bowman Gray race, there's this nonprofit church around the corner from the racetrack that sells parking for every event, and that's how they make money to donate back to the community every time. And NASCAR was like, sorry, we're shutting you down.
Oh, that's a bad move.
It's like, that's another bad move. Yeah. Like, what is happening? Like, I hate to turn this into a, grumpy classist podcast, but come on.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, you've got so much money.
Yeah.
NASCAR, the organization, you just go, listen, we don't want you parking people there, but just what do you usually make? And we'll just make that donation, right?
Like, we'll double it.
Yeah. And then you make a big deal out of it, and it looks.
What do they make? $1,000? Like,
yeah. What? It's like, man, that's just like,
yeah.
Really.
Say they make $1,000, $2,000. NASCAR comes in like, here's $100,000. Put this to your charity this year. Like, that would have been the move.
It's a tax write-off for NASCAR.
Yeah. Instead, now there's news stories talking about how NASCAR shut this church down and they pay for parking that they use for charity every year. So,
horrible.
Yeah, it is. And the stuff like that bothers me a little bit. But, I mean, listen, I guess behind everything you like, there's probably some rich person screwing somebody over. So close our eyes and pretend we didn't see it, I guess. But still make a big stink about it.
Yeah. But, I mean, other than that, I'm excited that NASCAR season is back. So
I'm excited car racing season is back. It's been a long 3 weeks without it.
I know. It doesn't feel like the off season is very long.
It's definitely not.
Because, I mean, you'll have Sebrings in March, so there's only like 2 or 3 more weeks. and they'll be back at Sebring. So for endurance racing.
NASCAR ended in what, November?
Yeah.
So, I mean, NASCAR was done in November, and then by January, you're back to the Monte Carlo and Daytona. So,
Well, even that, like the day after Christmas, it's like Dakar. So,
oh right, yeah, and that's a 2 weeks that just leads into the Daytona 24. So, yeah, there's no real off season for motorsports, but much to the chagrin of the people in our lives that don't like motorsports. But speaking of annoying rich people ruining things, I went to Barrett Jackson this weekend.
okay. Yeah, we talked about, I think, how expensive it was to go.
Yeah,
Last
$100,
podcast.
$100 to go. Thankfully, I have, as a former employee of the company, I have enough connections to get tickets, so it didn't cost me $100. But a couple of observations this year. There were 2 cars that stood out to me, and it was because of the pricing. I talked about this in the Discord, so anybody who listens and is in Discord has already seen this. So, one was a 1968 Mustang convertible. Still had a 6-cylinder, so it wasn't anything special, but it was a decent looking car. Didn't look too rough. It was certainly in more complete than our 68 Mustang. Actually, I think it was a 67 Mustang convertible. But we're looking at it, and we noticed that now at Barrett, when the car goes through the auction, every car sells because it's a no reserve auction. And after the car sells, it rolls to the end of the stage, and the lady comes over and she puts a sticker on the windshield and she writes the sale price on it. And the sale price on this 1967 Mustang convertible was $3,000 for a complete running driving car.
What?
Yeah, that's absurdity. So we're looking around the auction. You know, we were there on a Friday, so a lot of the cars have already sold. Friday night and Saturday night are where all the really expensive stuff goes. But I'm trying to think, like, how did this car go for $3,000? Even if it didn't run and they had to push it across stage, a solid Mustang convertible from 1967 is 12 to 15 grand with a 6-cylinder.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 20 if it's real nice, but it was an average car. So, not that was odd. And it started making me think, like, I wonder if maybe we should, you know, just go to Barrett on like Wednesday morning at 7:45 and see if you can get a deal. Because that's probably when it sold, right? Before anybody got there. And then I start looking into the regulations for being a buyer at Barrett. Do you know what you need to be a buyer at Barrett?
Probably have to verify your bank account and have like a certain amount in there, right?
Yeah. But it's an absurd amount. Like, you need to verify that you have $30,000 in cash on hand.
Whoa, hold on, sir.
Yeah.
I don't even have a bank account.
Yeah.
I
Bank.
got $3,000 cash.
Can I take you a picture? Can I show you a picture of my mattress?
Yeah.
But yeah, nonetheless, so I was hoping that, you know, maybe some young kid that wants to get into classic cars bought this Mustang for $3,000.
No,
When I saw
somebody
that,
bought it
I was like,
as
no,
a gag.
somebody bought this, and they obviously have money to burn, and they were like, huh, $3,000, I scored. I'm going to flip this and make another 20 grand or whatever they're going to do. Like, it just frustrated me even more that even the stuff you see selling cheap there, you need to have more money on hand than the car cost. So, I mean, listen, I understand, like, they don't want somebody to try to buy a car and then they can't follow through with the car. But just showing you have 30 grand on hand and getting a bidder's paddle, you could still bid for a car that costs way more than 30 grand. So I don't think it stops anything. But nonetheless, then we're walking through the rest of the show area, and there's a whole collection of movie cars. Now, I'm not a big movie car person, but there's a few movie cars that I like. So we start looking at these movie cars, and he had everything from a Magnum PI Ferrari to the Mutt Cuts vehicle from Dumb and Dumber to a family truckster from Family Vacation. And I'm looking at all of them, and I'm like, man, this is a pretty impressive collection. Until I learned they were all replicas. This person spent their entire life building replicas of movie cars, and he probably had 30 of them there. What a weird thing to do. I mean, he literally commissioned a replica of the Monkey Mobile, the Munsters coach, the Dragula. Like, these aren't normal vehicles you can just drive. These are things that sit in a garage, and it's a replica.
So much money.
Not a real one. But anyway, one car that caught my eye was a 1976 Pontiac Le Mans, or Le Mans, if you're an American, I guess, which is the police car from Smokey and the Bandit. Nothing special car. These are just big 70s sedans. Yep. This should be a $3,000 car. It was not a movie used car. It was just a replica of the sheriff's car. So it's just a 76 Pontiac Le Mans painted in brown with a light bar on the roof. Should have sold for $3,000. It sold for $70,000.
What?
Which made me even more angry. So now you have this $3,000 Mustang and this $70,000 76 Pontiac Le Mans. And all I was thinking was no provenance. It's literally just a car that was painted brown with a light bar slapped on top. All I was thinking was I'm going to troll Craigslist all over the country looking for 1976 Pontiac Le Mans, painting them brown and selling one at every Barrett Jackson auction in the country. Because what? That car couldn't have cost him more than $5,000 to build. So, yeah, it's all about what time the car goes through. It's all about who's in the room when the bidding happens. It's all about who's trying to impress somebody. I don't know. It's just the whole thing is just absolutely disgusting. And as a car enthusiast, it is fun to walk around and look at the cars. But as a car enthusiast, it's also frustrating knowing that none of the buyers or sellers are like genuine enthusiasts. They're just money people. So mixed feelings about that one. But
yeah,
there was a 72 Chevy pickup there that has all the call outs on like a boomer board in front of the car of everything, what cost what was built where. And it has a $33,000 exhaust system.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was like,
overpaid, bro.
I was like, you definitely overpaid, sir. I don't know what 33 grand into your exhaust system. But anyways, total build totaled up to like $280,000, and it sold for 32 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't feel bad because he obviously was either lying or a real dummy.
All that being said, did you see anything that was like worth seeing?
Always. I think we kind of had a couple cars that we were looking at. Like, I'd drive that home. One of them would kill you, but I wanted it anyway. It was a second gen Corvair with a small block Chevy in the back. No firewall between the back seats where the engine is and the front seats where you sit. A cool set of like very period 80s Enkeis, like 5-spoke Enkeis. And even though it was no longer a 4 or 6 cylinder powered Corvair, it was a big V8 powered Corvair with a 4-speed. It still had drum brakes all around. So I was like, this car would kill me in every way, but I kind of want it. And that sold for $7,000, probably because nobody wanted to die. Yeah, I mean, there was a whole bunch of Mercedes-Benz 190E 2.3 Cosworths. Just, they were like, for some unknown reason, like 6 of them.
Huh.
Yeah. That didn't
what are
make
those
any
going
sense.
for?
30 to 60, depending on the condition.
Oof.
Yeah, they're expensive. They're up there with M3s. There were a bunch of E30 M3s too. Yeah, I mean there were quite a few. I'd buy that. Most vehicles at Barrett, because they're not owned by genuine enthusiasts, it seems they're owned by like, I got some money and I'm middle age and now it's time to buy a car. So a lot of them have questionable wheels and questionable mods. So there's a lot of that going on there. But most vehicles, you'd be like, I'd buy that, but then I'd have to change this. So there were a couple of vehicles that were built on TV shows. And I'll tell you what, they are absolute garbage in person. Every TV show car I've seen in real life has been garbage. And it held true this weekend too. So, but yeah, lots of lowlights, a couple minor highlights. It's not the kind of thing that you go to as a true car enthusiast and are blown away by anything. It's the kind of thing you go to as a true.
What about the Skylines?
So the Hakosuka style Skylines?
Yeah, the ones that they were advertising.
There were two.
Yep.
And they were, neither one of them were real GTRs. They were both Skyline GTs, GTR badging. And they were average at best.
I meant the race cars that they.
That was not at Barrett.
Oh, okay.
No, that was at Bonhams, and unfortunately, I did not make it to Bonhams. So, didn't get to see the Skyline race cars, the JGTC cars. Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the two cars I wanted to see at Arizona Car Week are the two cars I missed. So
there was a couple of Hakosuka like GTR clones there.
Yeah, they were Hakosuka like GTRs, but they were Skyline GTs with GTR badging and cut quarter panels for flares.
Yeah.
Painted silver. And they were both of them were like average at best. There was I think it's a C210 body style Skyline. I could be wrong. It's like the 81, 82, 79-ish Skyline. It's after the Ken Mary car, but before the R32 and before the R31. It's like the sort of looks like a Ken Mary. That was supposedly built by Top Secret, as in Smoky Nagata in Japan. But I couldn't find much documentation on it, so I don't know whether I truly believe it or not. Because those vehicles also were badged. That car also was badged GTR, and that body style Skyline never came in a GTR. They just came in a GT. So it had some legit stuff on it. Like it had those newer Star Road wheels and some HKS stuff, but I wouldn't. I was excited to see it when I was looking at it, and I was like, maybe, I don't know. So it was kind of parked outdoors under a tent. It wasn't featured inside either, which if it was something special, usually they get parked indoors. So like the Huna truck was there for sale. That was cool to see in person.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good time to go with friends and just kind of walk around and do your typical walk around a car show with friends and make fun of everything that's not yours. So that made it a good time. And then the following day, Saturday morning, was a Kyusha club. So that is always a good time. And there was a real Hakosuka GTR there, so that was nice. Nothing I haven't already said about that show, I couldn't say anymore again. Like it's just the best. I did not bring a car to the show. I was in the truck. So I just kind of parked off to the parking lot's over because it was not a show vehicle by any means.
Yeah.
Even with me not bringing a Cressida there were 4 Toyota Cressidas. So that's the kind of event it is. So I like that. But good times. That's a show that if you're ever in town when one of those is happening, you cannot miss. It's it's a real good time. So But that's it. We went to Pavs Saturday night because it was the last night of Car Week in Arizona. And Car Week in Arizona is getting bigger every year. I think they're trying to make it much like Pebble Beach Car Week or Monterey Car Week. There is, like I think I talked last week about, that there is a concourse and there is the auctions. And then there's a bunch of little events going on during the week, even midweek. I realized too late that I was invited to as a Haggerty member, I got an e-invite to the Haggerty social they were doing. It was free food and drink and parking for Haggerty members, but it was limited to a number of people, like first come, first serve. And I didn't know there was an email until after it happened because Haggerty sends 1,000 emails a week, so I don't pay attention to them. So I probably would have gone to that had I known, but I did not know. So also, I didn't take a lot of time off from work for Car Week because I just got back from vacation. So maybe next year I won't be on vacation the week before, so I can do some more of the midweek car stuff. So I lived vicariously through some friends who were doing car stuff all week. But yeah, I missed the Bonhams auction. After Kyusha Club, I was going to go, and then other stuff happened, and the day got away from me, and I was like, I'll go tomorrow, and then didn't realize that it was not going on the next day. So I missed it. But que sera, sera. Yeah.
All right.
Car Week in Arizona 2025 is over.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll definitely, we'll see. I'll try to get out there, at least for Kyosha Club.
Yeah, it's worth it. It seems like they're doing them once a month during the cooler season. So,
all right, cool. Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, that's a podcast. So, go follow us on the Discord. You know what we're doing on the Discord? We are starting a new JRC season for EAWRC. So our I'm gonna keep saying our Motorsports team. We've got a few people that we are gonna run. It's like season 16 or something of the rally season. It's like run by another Discord, but we have a bunch of people that run it from our Discord and do pretty well. And they've got different tiers. So it's kind of cool. I think I talked about before, they break it up as you would in real life. So there's like people who are fastest get to run the current WRC cars. And then people who aren't as fast run
people like me
one
right
level down. Yeah. And then I'm like third fastest. So I run like the entry level cars that you'd get at the back of the field. So we're going to run, it's like there's some new download pack for the game. So it's a Citroen C2 something. We don't get it here. It's some little full drive hot hatch, naturally aspirated thing that's like 9,000 RPM, 4-cylinder car, front wheel drive. So that's what I'm running. But yeah, that's a reason to come join the Discord or just hang out with us and talk about cars.
I guess I should download this game because this is not Dirt. It's a new game, right?
It is not Dirt. They bought out Dirt, EA Sports, and I believe they brought on along the same developers, and the game is just as good, if not better.
Oh, it's currently on sale on
very, very
Xbox
good.
for $14.99, so I should probably just buy it.
Does it come with all the download stuff? Because that download stuff might be extra, but you can start with a regular game.
It says
we were talking about
EA Sports
subscriptions.
WRC 24. There's only one option. It doesn't have options for download packs. Oh, the expansion pack is $30.
Yeah, it just came out, but it's like 3 or 4 expansion packs. You can start with the base game if you want to try it first. No problem. Yeah, the only thing I would double check is I don't think it's on like Game Pass. We were just talking about how annoying subscription things are, and like
I don't have Game
I
Pass
subscribe to
anyway, so
I have Game Pass because certain games are included on it, like the Black Ops game, Call of Duty. Instead of paying for the game, it probably works out if they keep putting Call of Duty games on the Game Pass, it probably works out the same as buying them. I don't know. It's all a scam. Everything's a scam.
My Xbox is strictly a Forza, Grand Theft Auto, and Rally machine, so it doesn't do anything else. So I don't play enough games. I know you play more games than I play, so I don't play enough games to make Game Pass worth my while. So I don't have it.
I only have it, and I play that one game that's on it. But I think I was using it to play some other games that were available. I forget. There's some other game. Oh, you know what's on Game Pass? That's fun. We're getting a little off topic. Is the Indiana Jones game?
Sure.
It's actually a really good game. So if you wanted to try that, it's on Game Pass.
I don't.
But anyway, yeah, that's a good reason to come join the Discord. Come hang out. You follow us on Facebook, Auto Off Topic Podcast, if you want. We're on Threads. Facebook. We're on Threads is Auto Off Topic. I'm on Threads, and Instagram is Race and Anger.
Yes, the Facebook account on Threads is not us.
No. Brad, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at TSISS350. They can find me on Threads at the same once every 2 months. And they can find me on the Gearhead Project forums.
Oh, and you know what I forgot to talk about that I talked about doing for New Year's resolutions is I actually finished the front brake video for the Crosstrek. I edited it all together and put it up. It is on YouTube. Not that it's super exciting, but I needed a companion video to go with the rear brake one. I let it sit for like a year. I had people asking questions on the rear brake one, like, do you have a front brake video? So it's finally up there.
Now you do.
I also finished the one for doing the struts, putting the Bilsteins on it. And that was, I realized I went back and started editing it. I had like a mic that I didn't turn on like after I ate lunch or something. So there's a whole like 3 or 4 minutes that I had no audio that I had to do voiceover for. That's probably why I stopped editing it. But now it's all done and it's like 50 minutes long. It's up on YouTube. If you want to just hit like for me, and then you can just let it play in the background and give me some play minutes. You don't have to actually watch it, but it's up there for people to work on their cross treks. So I'm going to try to do some more. I've got some other videos that I've never edited, like stuff on the G20 that's just sitting on my computer. So I'll try to get to that when I have a chance.
Next time you come out here, I want you to help me set up some camera stuff to show me how you do it so I can start making some too. So.
Yeah, I got to actually look into upgrading the camcorder, but it's like 10 years old at this point. So, but anyway, I think that's a podcast, Brad.
Excellent.
All right, cool. As always, keep cars analog. Any of the roses.